Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for taking the time to tune in today. My name is Chase Hartgraves, and today we're going to talk about alcohol. So let's talk about the dangers of alcohol and how it can affect a young person's brain. If we look at models of the brain, you'll see that the very front part of our brain is where we make decisions and we analyze data and we come up with solutions. When you use alcohol, alcohol affects your brain from the very front point to the very back point. So it will eventually creep its way back the more you drink and start affecting the more important vital systems of your brain at the very base of your skull. It'll then start to affect other portions of the brain like coordination and speech, and eventually can lead to death if it starts to impact the cerebellum and the cerebral cortex. We know that the brain isn't fully developed until the age of 25. This means that teens and young adults are more susceptible to the damage caused by alcohol to their brain. Did you know that in the United States, a standard drink is 0.6 fluid ounces or 14 grams of alcohol? So a 12-ounce can of beer has the same amount of alcohol as a 5-ounce glass of wine or a 1.5-ounce glass of liquor. Therefore, all of these drinks contain the same amount of alcohol per volume. When we break this down, it's very clear that it doesn't matter what kind of alcohol it is. Alcohol is alcohol. Beer, wine, and liquor are all the same. This means that young people are especially at risk because they might not understand how much alcohol is in the product that they're drinking. With all this in mind, let me give you guys some recent statistics. According to a 2019 study, 14.5 million people ages 12 and older had an alcohol use disorder, also known as AUD. This number includes 9 million males and 5.5 million females. According to the same study, 414,000 adolescents ages 12 to 17 had alcohol use disorders. This number includes 163,000 males and 251,000 females. Now, we also know that around 95,000 people, approximately 68,000 men and 27,000 women, die from alcohol-related causes annually. This makes alcohol the third leading cause of preventable death in the United States. The first being tobacco-related illnesses, and the second, poor diet and health. Alcohol is among the most widely used drugs throughout the entire world, which means it has a profound impact on all societies and cultures. Using national data, we see that children as young as 12 begin using this product, and it affects them throughout their entire life. Alcohol use disorder is also the most common substance use disorder found in the United States. Here are some interesting facts about how COVID impacted teenage use of alcohol. A recent study found that alcohol use rates and marijuana use rates did not change during COVID pandemic times, which is perplexing because you would think less access to a product meant that they would be able to use it less. But somehow they found a way around that. All right, parents, I know that you're asking yourself, what are some warning signs that my child might be using these products? Well, let me give you a few just so you can keep an eye out for them. Changes in mood, including anger and irritability. Academic or behavioral problems in school, rebelliousness, changing groups of friends, low energy level, less interest in activities, and less care about their appearance. Finding alcohol among a young person's things, smelling alcohol on a young person's breath, problems concentrating or remembering, slurred speech, and coordination problems. So what can you do if you fear that your child has fallen under the influence of alcohol? Well, to be honest with you, preventing underage alcohol use is a complex challenge. Any successful approach must include several factors, including genetics, personality, rate of maturity and development, level of risk, social factors, and also environmental factors. Let's go through a few different intervention styles and give you as much information as we can about those so that you know which would work best. There are 4 main types of intervention styles, and they include individual level interventions, school-based interventions, family-based interventions, and community-based interventions. The first is individual level interventions. This is focusing on how the student thinks about alcohol. We want to change their perceptions and help them to see that it is not a fun and recreational drink, but is in fact a dangerous poison. School-based interventions are what Serenity House does. We come in and we talk to the students about alcohol and see what their perceptions are, and then we try to subtly change and show them how alcohol is dangerous. Family-based interventions require a family to come together and to discuss boundaries and rules regulating alcohol. And finally, community-based interventions are coordinated by coalitions and require working on environmental risk factors such as access to alcohol. Alright, let's go over some critical signs and symptoms of alcohol overdose, or also known as alcohol poisoning. These include things such as mental confusion or stupor, difficulty remaining consciousness or inability to wake up, vomiting, seizures, slow breathing, which means fewer than 8 breaths per minute, irregular breathing, which is 10 seconds or more between breaths, slow heart rate, clammy skin, dulled responses such as no gag reflex, and extremely low body temperature, bluish purple skin, and paleness. If you or your child ever witness somebody in this state, it is vitally important that you immediately call 911. This person is in a crisis. They could possibly die if you leave them to their own. Teach your child that it is safe to call 911 in this instance. There are things such as Good Samaritan laws that protect you or your child if they are in this situation. Saving a life is always more important than killing the buzz of a party. Alright parents, here are some things you can do to help minimize the risk of alcohol use in your home. Be sure to describe how alcohol poisoning occurs so that they're better aware of the signs and symptoms. And also what to do in an emergency if they see someone passing out from alcohol use. If alcohol is already in the home, make it harder for them to obtain. I know it might be difficult, parents, but it is vital that you understand and know who your children are hanging out with. Ask yourself these questions. Do you know who their friends are? What types of values do their friends have? Is it possible that your child's friend might pressure them into using alcohol? I would also encourage you to have regular conversations with your child about alcohol and other drugs so that they know exactly where you stand. Sometimes people use alcohol to deal with stress and anxiety. Let's try to find healthier ways to deal with those problems. It's also important that you discuss this with other parents and make sure that you have clearly stated, I do not want my child drinking alcohol. If you get wind of a party, make sure that there's somebody there watching your kids and keeping them out of trouble. And finally, encourage your child to take part in fun and healthy activities that do not involve substances. I encourage you to use these different strategies and make necessary changes to your life so that we can better prevent alcohol misuse. I know that a lot of these are easier said than done, but it's important to you to keep your child safe, and therefore, no effort is wasted effort. Research shows us that children of actively involved parents are less likely to use alcohol. Alright, well that's it for today's video. I hope that you got some good information, and now you feel equipped to talk to your child about alcohol misuse. Be sure to like and subscribe, that way you don't miss any of our newest videos. We really appreciate you being here with us today. Have a great day. Bye.